Thank you so much for coming and sitting with me. This is part of my 9 Quiet Truths of Grief playlist, and you don't need to have watched any of the others to watch this one, and you can dip in and out whenever feels right for you. And take what helps and just leave the rest, because grief is so different for everybody. I want to be honest with you about why I'm making this video today, and in particular this week. This Sunday is my daughter's anniversary, and so it's a difficult week anyway. I feel like the approach to these days is in some ways more difficult. And on top of that, one of my cats is having kittens. They're due this week, and I know how excited my daughter would be, and I am excited, but it's got that layer of grief on top that I can't phone my daughter and go, quick, come to the house, like, it's happening. And I know no matter how much joy I feel that Luna's having kittens, that is going to affect how I feel. Can you imagine having those little tiny kittens bouncing around? You know, I don't know how many weeks of wanting to send photos to Diva. But that's what happens with grief. The whole world just carries on, and, you know, the things that you would usually do are not there anymore. You can't just reach for the phone and tell your loved one the thing that they'd be waiting for that call for. So yeah, so that's why it's a hard week, and I thought I would do this video. But you may just see a few moments in my face because it's difficult. So I'm going to need some of what I share with you, and that's partly why I'm doing this, just to remind myself that actually I haven't got it all worked out, and I'm still a work in progress of finding my new way of living as a grieving mother. I want to talk about the hard days, and not just the obvious ones like the anniversaries, the birthdays, the ones with the reason written all over them, you know, the ones where people text you and go, I'm thinking of you. I mean the other ones that they just arrive when you're not expecting them, like when you wake up and something already feels heavy before you've even opened your eyes. The days where nothing specific has happened, but everything just feels wrong. Everything just feels like too much. And I get those days. And I think if you're watching this, perhaps you're here because you get those days too. Or maybe you have a loved one who has difficult days and you can't make sense of it. So I'm going to share with you 9 things which aren't necessarily advice, but they're just things that I've found to be true on the hard days, and things that have helped me to get to the other side of those days. I'm not sharing them. I'm not saying they're going to fix everything, because they won't. Your grief will be there. But sometimes it just helps to feel a little bit less alone, and, you know, to try something new that maybe you haven't tried before. So, truth 1. A hard day doesn't mean that you're going backwards. And I think this is one of the biggest fears that people carry, because you have some better days, and then when something knocks you again, your first thought is, oh, I thought I was past this. I thought I was doing better. I thought I'd moved forward. I thought I'd moved through it. But that's not how grief works, and it doesn't go in that straight line that some people tell you that it does. And it never will. It never did, and it never will, no matter what anyone wants to tell you. And at the same time, a hard day doesn't erase all the progress that you've already made, and it doesn't undo anything. It's just a hard day, and maybe you're needing more for yourself today, and it doesn't mean that you've failed any of the days that came before it. Truth 2, you don't need a reason for it. Sometimes there just isn't one. There's no date, there's no trigger, there's no obvious thing that set it off, and that can make it harder because people want to know why, and sometimes you just don't have an answer. That's okay. Your body carries the grief even when your mind is trying to get on with your day. Sometimes it just gets tired and it just needs you to notice that without making you justify it. So you don't need a reason. It's enough that you're having a hard day. Truth 3. Doing less is not giving up. On the harder days, I've learned to just stop and pause. And sometimes I even stay in bed. And it's not because everything's falling apart necessarily, but my body is telling me that it needs rest. And I've learned to listen to that rather than fight it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a day in bed when that's what you need. The things that felt manageable yesterday might feel impossible today. Maybe getting dressed, answering messages, deciding what to eat. Now that's not laziness, that's your system conserving what it has. Rest is also part of survival and it always has been. If you need rest, take it. Truth 4. You are allowed to protect your energy today. So you can cancel the plans if you need to, and if there's a conversation you've got to have that you don't want to have, do it another day. Say no to the things that you said yes to when you were feeling stronger. So you're not obligated to show up for everything, and I'm really bad for this. So if you feel like you're running on empty, consider, what shall I say, what shall I do, what shall I not do? Protecting your energy isn't letting people down. It's making sure there's still something left of you, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And nobody who really loves you will ask you to. Truth 5. Comparing yourself to anyone else will make today harder. I know how easy it is to, on a hard day, you look around and you just think, everyone else seems to be coping. Everyone else seems to be further ahead with their grief than me. Like, why is this still knocking me down? Why is it hitting me like this? But you don't know what anyone else is feeling. You don't know what they're carrying. And your grief is shaped by your love, your history, and your relationship with the person that you've lost. There is no standard version of this. There is no correct pace. You're not behind. You are just where you are today. And you know what? And where you are today is okay. Truth 6. Small things matter more than big ones on hard days. Hard days don't need solutions or breakthroughs or any kind of big gesture. They need something soft and familiar, something steady. Sometimes for me, it's just going and sitting on a bench somewhere with people passing by, you know, little children doing funny things. And it's not because I want to talk to anyone, but it's just to be near life without having to participate in it. Sometimes a stranger will walk past and they'll smile, and it just lifts me up that little bit. And that's all you need, just lifting a little bit, a little notch on a hard day. Not a transformation, you know, a warm drink, a familiar show on in the background. I use a weighted blanket, maybe a short walk somewhere familiar. These things aren't avoiding how you feel. They're just helping your body feel safe. And you need to feel safe enough to get through the rest of the day. Truth 7. It's okay if your world feels smaller today. On hard days, I've learned to think just about the next hour. Sometimes just the next little bit. Not the week ahead, not everything that needs doing, not the future, definitely not the future. Just this hour, just what's right in front of me. And that's not weakness. That's actually quite a wise move. Because when you narrow your focus to only what's manageable right now, things become a little bit more possible. You're not avoiding the bigger picture. You're just choosing not to carry it all at the same time. And that's okay. Truth 8. This feeling is not permanent, even when it feels like it is. Hard days have a way of convincing you that this is the way that things are now, and that this heaviness is the new normal, and that it's always going to feel like this. And it won't. Feelings move. Even when they move so slowly, you can hardly feel them moving at all. A hard day is a hard day. It's a moment in time. It isn't a prophecy about every day that's going to be coming after it. You don't need to feel hopeful about the future every day, and not today. You just need to be gentle with yourself right now. That's enough, and that really is enough. That's your priority. Truth 9. You are allowed to end the day early. And I don't mean going to sleep necessarily, but I mean letting the day be what it was and not trying to rescue it. So you're not squeezing something meaningful out of it, not trying to turn it around. Some days are just about getting through, and getting through is enough. It genuinely is. Perhaps have a shower on those days. I know that sounds almost too small to say out loud, but if you've been in that darkness, you'll know how hard it is to get in that shower, and you'll know how different you feel when you get out of it. Getting yourself under the water on a day that you absolutely don't feel like it, and coming out the other side, everything's not fixed, but your mind just feels that little bit fresher to feel more like yourself. Just slightly, but slightly is something, and slightly is a notch up from where you were before you got in. And then let the day end. You made it through. And that matters more than you know. And I'm going to actually give you a 10th thing actually in this one. And that's connection. I know I said 9 truths, but I just wanted to add one more thing, and it's probably the most important one. On a hard day, reach out to one person, just one. And it doesn't have to be a big conversation, just a text that just says, today's hard. That's all, that's enough. The thing most people carrying grief need more than anything else is just to feel a little less alone in it. Not fixed, not advised, just less alone. And if you're in a place where reaching out to someone feels impossible right now, there's something that I want to share with you that I found really useful, and I've had really good feedback about it. It's called the Stay Alive app by Grassroots, and it's free to download. There's no adverts. It's completely confidential. It's got a section called Reasons to Live In. It's got a section for Reasons for Living, and that's where you keep your own reasons and in your own words. There's a life box where you can store photos that matter to you, maybe that cheer you up a little, that remind you why you should be here. There's grounding techniques for when your feelings just feel too big, and a safety plan which you can fill out yourself in your own time. It's not going to fix grief, but nothing does. But it might be something just to reach for in a moment when you need something just there in your hand. Yeah, so it's called Stay Alive, and it's by Grassroots, and I'll put the link in the description. And just one more small thing. On the hard days, I don't reach for anything that asks a lot from me. So I reach for small things, and things that give my body just a little signal that it's okay. So it might be a cup of herbal tea, or something calming that just feels like a bit of care in a mug. For some people that's hot chocolate. And I know it sounds too simple, but as I said, the little things add up. I've linked a few options in my Amazon storefront, along with a few other little self-care bits that have helped me through on the hard days. Things like gardening, weighted blankets, books that have helped. You know, sometimes having a small anchor can really make a difference. So I'll put the links in the description if you want to have a look. So some of the links may be affiliate links, which mean I might earn a small amount at no extra cost to you. You know, this Sunday is Diva's anniversary, and sometime this week it's likely that I'm going to have tiny kittens arriving in my home, and I am going to want to ring her. I already know that, and I'm not going to be able to. And that's what grief is. It lives inside of the ordinary moments, and the lovely ones as much as the sad ones. It's been nearly 6 years, and that is still there. If today is going to be a hard day for you, I just want you To know that you don't need to be productive, you don't need to be positive, you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You are allowed to move slowly through today. You're allowed to do less. You're allowed to just get through it, and you are definitely not alone in it. Even sitting here watching this, you're not alone. There are people all over the world carrying hard days right now who would completely understand yours. That community exists and you are part of it. And this space is part of it. If you felt this has been helpful, there are other videos like this in the 9 Quiet Truths of Grief playlist. And please just leave a comment. Let me know if you've got any additional things that you'd like to add. I may not have covered everything. And thank you for sitting with me today. And just take a breath before you go. And Diva, this one's for you. Always my daughter, forever 26 years old, but always my baby girl. Thank you for watching.